And at the fall of Babylon, that's where we're at in this timeline. You have the first fruits taken. You have a period of time until the tribulation starts, when an asteroid hits and Babylon falls in 1 hour of 1 day. That's the first hour of the tribulation. And that's how you can number the days of the tribulation. And Babylon falls from an asteroid hitting. And as we've said, you have to know this, saints, that the trumpets, which we would be coming to in this timeline in the book of Revelations. Now, this is the beginning of the tribulation. At the trumpets are messages to God's people that go into the tribulation or get saved in the tribulation. The bowls of wrath are the outcome of those who reject him. But they're all describing the same thing. Messages to the saints and the outcome of those who reject him. And in the first 4 trumpets, we see these images, these visions, these sights, these looks at an asteroid hitting. The first 4 trumpets all describe an asteroid hitting and bringing down Babylon. The first 4 bowls of wrath are all describing that same thing, but the outcome of that asteroid hitting, the outcome by the end of the tribulation, leading up to and at the end of the tribulation of those who reject Christ. It's all the same thing. So we've come all the way up to Revelation chapter 9, and that's where the tribulation starts. Others try to tell you you're deep in the tribulation by then. But no, the trumpets are describing that asteroid hitting, which will cause the fall of Babylon in 1 hour of 1 day. And that will allow for the quick rise of the kingdom of the beast, which will be trying to bring stability and order back to the earth. But we have this asteroid hitting, and so many things you see in prophecies about the end times, where all those on the broad road to destruction, they entered that wide gate and they're on the broad road to destruction, and all they see is destruction. They'll tell you that in just the first 4 trumpets and the first 4 bowls of wrath, you have 8 different total huge disasters. They're all describing just one thing. And in so many other prophecies in the Bible concerning the end times are all talking about just that one thing too. Look at Luke chapter 21, verses 25 and 26. And there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth dismay among nations, and perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves. This is describing that asteroid hitting too. The effects it'll have on the atmosphere as the cloud is kicked up and the debris is kicked up and the sun and the moon are not given their light. And upon the earth dismay among nations, in perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves. As that asteroid hits, you see the same thing described in the first 4 trumpets and the first 4 bowls of wrath. A lot of it has to do with that asteroid hitting in the sea. I'm not going to go over those again because I've went over them so many times. But this in Luke chapter 21 is describing the same thing. There's so many things you can go through the Bible and see that it's all describing. It's not endless disaster after disaster after disaster. There will be enough trouble upon the earth during the tribulation with an asteroid hitting and bringing down the United States' military, government, money, power, influence. That alone will bring a lot of trouble. But then there will be 200 million man armies rising up across the earth as they try to protect their places. This will give to the rise of the kingdom of the beast, and they will try to bring peace and stability to the earth. But in verse 26 in Luke, and what does it say in verse 26? Men fainting from fear and expectation of the things which are coming upon the earth. That's why this can't be Babylon falls at the end of the tribulation, as so many try to teach. It says, men fainting from fear and expectation, their expectation of the things that are coming upon the earth. for the powers of the heaven will be shaken. So that in Luke is completely describing that asteroid hitting in an ocean too, and the roaring of the waves. Waves from an asteroid, dependent on the size of it, can be anywhere from 600 feet to a mile to 3 miles high. That's what that's talking about. And we see that too in Revelation chapter 8. Verse 8, and the second angel sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and the third of the sea became blood. As we see, a third of that sea is affected, and immediately the life in it dies. In the bowls of wrath, at the same bowl of wrath, the second bowl of wrath, you see that by the end of the tribulation, all the life in that ocean is dead. That's what this means. I have messages on all these things. You need to go back to see them. But here's another thing that is so misquoted, so much with those on the broad road to destruction. Look at Revelation chapter 6, verse 14. This is in the sixth seal. This is at the time of the six seals. The sixth seal. I told you the seals cover the entire church age. That time that men can and will be saved. The sixth seal covers the tribulation because men can and will be saved. So many teachers, Christian teachers, try to tell you the whole church is taken before the tribulation and then it's just destruction on earth. We've seen that. Hundreds of millions of people are saved. We've got messages on that during the tribulation as the church of Laodicea preaches the gospel to them. But in the sixth seal, in Revelation 6:14, this is during the sixth seal, and the sky was split apart like a scroll when it is rolled up. That will be from that asteroid hitting. The sky will be like a nuclear bomb going off, but much, much bigger. And that is where the sky will split apart like a scroll when it's rolled up. And listen here, saints. Revelation 6:14. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So many try to teach you and tell you that across the entire earth, every mountain and island will be put out of its place. This is the beginning of the tribulation. How could life be going on earth? How could life be going on earth in any way or sense if every mountain and island were blown out of their place? And then some try to tell you that this happens twice. Because in Revelation chapter 16, as they say that Revelations is in a order, you just go through a sequence. So they say here it happened once, and then in a silly way they try to tell you again in Revelation 16:19. Let's look at that, Revelation 16:19. And the great city was split into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And Babylon the Great was remembered before God to give her the cup of the wine of his fierce wrath. And listen here, verse 20. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. So they try to tell you now this has happened a second time. Or even if it did happen one time, the tribulation couldn't go on if every island and mountain fell. Just back up there to verse 19, and it says, the great city was split into 3 parts. This is speaking of Babylon. There's 2 cities, 2 great cities in the book of Revelation, Jerusalem and Babylon. This is clearly talking about Babylon. And the great city, now it's referring to it not as the nation, but the city. And right there in New York City, right there at the front of Long Island, that part of New York City is Babylon. There's the city of Babylon there. And it was named in honor, changed by a man in the 1800s in honor of the old Babylon. He named it the New Babylon. This is the New Babylon, he said. And there it is. And look at verse 19 again. And the great city was split into 3 parts. That asteroid will hit off that coast. The New York City area will be split. You hear about these earthquakes also through the end times. That will be the great earthquake like there's never been upon earth, because an asteroid will hit, causing a great earthquake, and the New York City area will be split into 3 parts. And the cities of the nations fell. That's what I'm telling you. They're trying to say, yeah, the whole nations, all the nations of the world fell. That's not what it's talking about here. That's what I talk about, where as that asteroid hits, and the United States with its military might, power, commerce, stocks, money, government falls, all the nations will fall because they totally depend upon them. And then it says in verse 20, and every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. This is only both of these. In Revelation chapter 6 and in here, it's only talking about the New York City area, that part of Babylon. There, where the asteroid hits, every island will be leveled, gone, disintegrated. The mountains right around there will be leveled. They'll be gone. Not across the whole earth. And so we have this where the tribulation will start in 1 hour of 1 day, as we have seen in Revelation chapter 18, verse 8 and verse 10. In 1 hour of 1 day, Babylon will fall from that asteroid hitting. So now that's where we're at, saints. And then the next message will move on from there. You have the church that's oblivious to its condition, as seen in Laodicea, and he will spit them out of his mouth. But you have the church of Philadelphia, he had not one bad thing to say about. And they are ready, waiting, and he will take them. He said he would keep them from that hour. So that's the pre-tribulation rapture. There is a pre-tribulation rapture. Then you will have a period of time, only God knows how long that is, until the tribulation will start at the fall of Babylon. And Babylon will fall in 1 hour of 1 day from an asteroid hitting in the Atlantic Ocean. As you can see in the first 4 trumpets and the first 4 bowls of wrath, the effects of it. And that will be the thing that causes the roaring of the seas, causes the giant earthquake, causes every island and mountain to be gone in that area. And then the nations of the earth will fall as their dependence upon the United States is gone. The money, the might, the power, the commerce, the buying, the selling, the trading that goes on. Once America falls, then all the nations of the earth will fall, and the kingdom of the beast will quickly rise up. And in the next message, we'll go on from there. What happens after that asteroid hits, and after Babylon falls? What happens after that, saints? Repent, prepare the way of the Lord, because those that are waiting, that remnant that are waiting, that don't love the world, don't love Egypt, don't love Babylon, they will go in the pre-tribulation rapture as that first fruits, which the first fruits in the Old Testament were a token of the harvest to come. Those taken in the first fruits rapture are a token of that church of Laodicea and all those who get saved in the tribulation, that the harvest is coming. So saints, let's repent and prepare the way of the Lord, that we might be ready, waiting and watching.